What's good? What's good? I'm back. We're gonna make this part two of the TC Thomkins interview. We had a little bit of issues, but we're gonna take what we had before, and we're definitely gonna keep it because there's a lot of great info, a lot of good jewels on there. We don't want to waste any of that info. So let's bring them back in. And here we go. TC.
Much better.
Okay. I think where we left off, we was talking about how oversaturated the music business is with the internet.
Yeah, you know what? We were just discussing that how kids think nowadays, since the streaming and social media and all these other things, that there are tons of other avenues for you to get exposure. But because there are tons of other avenues, it's very difficult to get anybody's attention than it was before. You had a key element before that you could get everybody's attention on. That's not present anymore. Plus, since it is so easy to release music now, so I think Spotify gets something like 6,000 releases a week.
It's 100,000 a day now. 100,000 a day now.
100,000 releases a day.
Yeah, so it was at 60,000, and then they said they reached 100,000 in one day. I don't know if it stated that, but that's too much music.
Too much. Even if it's 30, I mean, it's too much.
Yeah.
I remember when we were complaining about 8 to 10 releases a week, And matter of fact, when I was at CBS Epic, I cut back the amount of releases that we used to have because that was one of the main reasons that we were able to become successful, so we could concentrate more on our major releases other than trying to do so many different projects and schedule them and all that. You just cannot win with that much music on there.
And it seems like it makes it harder for it to be timeless or classic. Like a cat like NBA Youngboy, yeah, he's number 2 behind Drake, but are we really going to remember all these songs 10 years from now?
Well, most of his stuff, though, is underground.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
he's big underground, but he's not as big as Drake on commercial releases and things of that nature. That is a good thing that they haven't, I mean, underground was around back when I first started, when they used to have NWA and all that stuff that they couldn't air on radio. There was always an underground for material. But I would suggest nowadays, if any artist is trying to do anything as far as releasing, you need guidance and you need a professional to help you, because it's as easy as they say it is nowadays. It is much more difficult now than it was back in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. It's just more competition, more avenues for entertainment. Shit, you got 500 channels on TV. You got, 500 different streaming outlets. So it's just very difficult. And I found out a lot of places that, man, that what they call the old school method of going to radio and going in those markets and performing works better, works just as good as all of the other stuff. You don't capture as a larger audience as you would on the internet, but they are much more personally involved with your material once they see you perform and have some kind of interaction with you,
You said something that caught my attention, NWA being underground. That was because they were making gangster music, right? So they considered underground anything that wasn't couldn't play on radio.
Yeah.
Nowadays, underground is typically a sound.
Not necessarily profanity or things of that nature like it was in NWA days.
Yeah. Radio and street teams, did they always go hand to hand?
Yep, absolutely. I still use street teams. You especially need them in major markets like Houston, Atlanta, New York, things on that nature, where clubs have an impact. And in a lot of cities, man, you would be shocked at how much impact strip clubs and clubs have on music. Matter of fact, it's almost as expensive to work the strip clubs in Atlanta, Georgia, as it is to get radio airplay.
Wow. Now, do you think you think strip clubs and venues are like more valuable now than radio nowadays?
I don't think there's more valuable, but there is a niche for it. There's a niche there. Strip clubs wasn't as popular back when I was coming up.
Okay.
Strip clubs is like a lifestyle now. I mean, they have big parties at strip clubs. I mean, they're much more acceptable than they were back when in the 70s and the 80s and things of that nature. And it is, I have known music to develop from strip clubs.
Put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Akinelli.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Come up from strip clubs. Yeah.
Do you think COVID's had any effect on the street teams?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, COVID has had an effect on everything, man. Shit, I almost starved for a year. but nobody releasing any music.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I had a couple of good, excellent projects that we were doing, and we're about to go out on tour with this artist when they stopped everything. And it just killed the record. It killed the record because we were at a point. It was an R&B record because you don't really necessarily need to tour as much on hip hop as you do on R&B.
Okay.
Because R&B just does not get the kind of action on the internet that hip hop does.
Yeah.
You can have a huge R&B record and have hardly any followers on social media because of the demographics and the age group.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had a record on a boy named George Tandy. I think you helped me work.
Yeah, I was looking it up. George, yeah.
Yeah. Went top 3 in the country. I don't think he had no more than maybe 15, 20,000 followers. That's unheard of. Record companies don't even want to talk to you if you ain't
if you ain't got no followers.
Yeah, you ain't got 200,000 to 300,000 followers, man. They don't want to talk to you.
But I've seen
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because I've seen the exact opposite. There's an artist we're working. She's got I don't want to say her name or nothing, but she's got 1 million subscribers on YouTube and 1 million Twitter followers. And I'm like, well, why are you having to pay me if you got all these subscribers and all these followers? You're not working your music right with these platforms. What's going on?
It does not. And I found this out. I worked with the artist in here. Beautiful girl. Had, I think, about 2 million followers. Okay. The whole 9 yards. And it just did not click with her followers. I don't know if it was a style of music. There's a radio airplay on it. Got it on MTV, got it on BET. The whole 9 yards, nothing. And she had the package, the whole package. The looks, the followers, the whole 9. It just did not connect.
Yeah, it didn't resonate with the followers.
Yeah, it just did not. I mean, we got plenty of comments on the video. We got plenty of action at radio. But for the markets that I had, because I had New York, Chicago, DC, Atlanta, had LA, I had tons of major markets on this project. It just did not develop. I've had 2 or 3 projects like that, and all female artists that had major followers, but it basically comes down. Matter of fact, I try to tell anybody this. I don't care how big you are on social media. If you got 5 million followers, if that music ain't in the pocket, man, it just don't matter. It really don't matter because they just will not buy garbage or buy your garbage. Matter of fact, they'll comment on it and tell you how bad it is. I've had a lot. Now, you'll get a lot of reaction on that. If you don't get anything from the internet, you'll get negativity.
I want to get into the book.
Mm-hmm.
Start with the title, When Radio is King. Is radio still king, you think, because it's less oversaturated?
No.
It's not. You don't think it's...
Radio's purpose is not music anymore.
It's not music. It's just advertising?
No. It's advertising, programming. Radio plays a little bit safe now. They want all records researched. All records, matter of fact, Houston, you can't get a record in Houston, Texas, man, unless the program director happens to like a local artist or something, or it's a national record. Matter of fact, I've had records that are top 20 nationally that Houston will play. I mean, and this market, man, I used to love Houston because they would take risk. The program directors would take risks. Program directors nowadays don't take risks. Don't take that many risks or step out on something they believe in. I've been able. Matter of fact, I was just telling you. I don't know if I was just telling you this about Maze. When I took Maze, when Maze first came out, I took it straight to the radio station. They put it right on. Program director did not have to clear it with anyone or anything of that nature. Because see, you got in every corporation now, you got layers of people that have something to do with music. A lot of the program directors that I really like dealing with, they got consultants, and the consultants don't have nothing to do with the radio or in the market or anything else. It's just that you have to get your record cleared through them before the station can play it.
You think there's too many people in the music business or in radio that just don't understand music in general?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. When I was first starting in the industry and working in the industry, radio and music was like this. I mean, they were a part of each other. It was like one arm and another arm on one body. Because radio back then really depended upon matter of fact, stations used to fight over who played records first. You know what I mean? They wanted first in the marketplace to play that music. They took pride in being able to say, we were the first station in the country to play so and so and so and so. That's gone. There's no competition for that type of activity anymore. They want to make sure that what they play is safe, that you do not hit that button and change the dial. They want to play something continuously recognizable. An artist that you will recognize. That's why name acts. As long as you have a name act that gets the daytime and that sort of stuff, that makes it easier for a program director because they don't have to worry about you switching to another station because they're going to continue to play the records that have already been proven to be a hit. And that's what radio is now. They want to play proven hits.
Same thing with the labels, right? They just want proven artists.
Proven artists, baby. Yeah. And you will notice, which I'm hurting from now, is labels have cut back on releases.
Yeah. I had a lot more label budgets like a couple years ago than I think I got towards the end of last year. And the beginning of this year, they've really been slow on the label budgets.
They're really slow. I've only worked independent stuff since beginning of the year. No major material, no major artists. And I had a couple of friends of mine that are VPs of record labels that said they're making so much money off a catalog. They don't need new releases as much as they did before, because with the convenience of streaming, every age group can find what they want to hear. That's why they don't listen to radio anymore. If I'm saying me, I'm 76 years old. I keep saying I'm 75. 76 years old. I listen to Luther, Teddy Pendergrass, OJ's, Patti LaBelle. I still got some Drake and some other stuff I really like, but 95% of the material that I listen to is material I'm familiar with. I don't get a chance. I hear new artists every now and then unless I'm working with them, but it's so convenient now to have the stuff that you want to hear. Like, matter of fact, like this morning, I took my daughter to have a procedure this morning. She had a little something wrong with one of her eyes, so she had a little procedure. And when we were on our way to the hospital, she took out her phone and hooked in Spotify and started playing who's that stuff? She started playing some stuff. Oh, Tupac, Biggie, nobody that's current.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 40 some years old because she's playing the stuff that she grew up on.
Yeah, that's my age group, and that's definitely what we grew up on.
That's
Yeah.
what y'all grew up on. Yeah. So
Um,
new material has a hard way of breaking through.
I think it does too, because now not too much of this new material I look at as classic or timeless, like a lot of the artists you named.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean. I hate to be like this. I just don't feel like artists put enough work into the material.
They brush them out.
Yeah, I mean
They just
they figure if they got a hook, that's all they need is a hook and a beat. But I mean, stuff that lasts, man, has much more depth than that.
and you could tell when you hear it.
Oh,
You could tell when you hear it.
I know when I hear a hit record, and I know when it's gonna be when it's not hollow, when it's not shallow, when the material has body and has substance to it. I love working with artists like that, man. Love working with artists like that. It's just that they are very, very few
Hard to
and
find.
far between nowadays.
Why'd you write this book?
People worrying the shit out of me to do it. And then on top of it, Paul, as quiet as it's kept, and excuse my French, motherfuckers just start taking credit for shit I did. I couldn't understand it. I never understood, why somebody would want to take credit for something they didn't do. I had a friend of mine who did an article on me. I see this article's up here on the wall. This had to be 10 years ago. He did an article on me about 10 years ago about my time with Michael and Sade. And the artists that they all try to steal is Sade.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say that they're the ones that discovered Sade and brought her to America, which is a lie. It was little old me, that's the artist that I have the most problem with people trying to steal my credit for. Now, the Thriller stuff and Michael stuff is all over the internet that I work with Michael. But you can't find nothing on the internet about me and Sade because several major vice presidents at Epic and other labels,
they took the credit.
Took the credit for it. Yeah. Matter of fact, it's in the book. I call him out. I call him out and I say, you didn't have a damn thing to do with this record. Matter of fact, as quiet as that is kept, as everybody will find out when the book came out, man, Epic didn't have a clue of what to do with that girl. They did not want to release that record because they saw her as an overrated jazz artist from Europe. That's what they saw her as.
Yeah.
I never heard her music like that. I never thought of it as jazz or anything of that nature. I just thought it was a new style where, she styles her music like Chaka Khan styles her. Chaka Khan not a hell of a vocalist, but Chaka has a style that nobody else can copy. When you hear a Chaka Khan record, that's Chaka Khan. Same thing with Sade. When you hear Sade, that's her. So she had her own signature style. And when you have your own signature style, it's always harder to break. It's always tougher to break. Whenever you're an original with something original that is unique, people are slow to accept it.
How hard is it to break a European artist in an American market?
You got to have a slick plan. Let me tell you that.
It seems like America, we just don't want to support overseas artists as much as they support us.
Oh, no, they love American music.
They love American music.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I got most interviews scheduled for Europe than I do States. As soon as they heard about this book coming out, over in Europe, Sade is like a goddess.
Yeah.
And none of them knew about me and Sade. But I guarantee you, when this book comes out, Sade is definitely going to say something because she's definitely in it. And the fact that we sat on that album for months, they didn't know what to do with it, But European, that was a period in the 80s. European acts were really big. They had the Clash, they had Culture Club, Alaman. We had a ton of acts coming over from Europe that was happening in England, English acts. You know, and that was the only acts that were getting access to MTV back then.
Is the Europeans?
The European acts and rock and roll. They weren't playing any black artists.
Let's get into that. I want to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking early black artists. I'm glad you brought that up. What was it like? I've heard it was like almost like they used to work with mob cats. Oh, yeah, and mob cats would be like, give you two options. You break the record and take the money, break the record, or we break your legs. Was there any validity to that?
That was an element of that in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a major element, especially with black labels.
Yeah.
Because when I worked with Stax, man, there was nobody over there Stax that had a college degree. you know, it wasn't like we were no rocket scientists over there. And there were several guys in the company that were straight up gangster. Now, matter of fact, it was straight up gangster even when I was at CBS.
Yeah.
The government was still there in the 80s, man. You know, and it was just I don't know if I'm sure it's still an element in the business. You know, it's too much money in the business for it not to have that element. Whenever there's a lot of money involved, you're going to find some type of mafia or some kind of syndicate or crooks involved in it. Ain't no way. It's just no way.
And payola, has it always been part of radio since day one?
Always. And I had a partner back tell me this, the boy that was vice president of Motown. He told me this. He said, I don't care what they do or what they tell you. They'll never get rid of payola. And that was in 1971, I think, when he told me that. Okay. And
wasn't even thought of yet.
And it's still alive and well.
And I would say it's even worse in Spotify.
Oh, man, you know what? That streaming shit ain't nothing but a hook. That ain't nothing but a hook. Yeah, you know, they're thinking that they're going to have a method of actually counting streams and all that. All of it's hook, man. All of it's hook. Anybody that wants 1 million streams, you can get them. You can get them. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's matter of fact, it's more corrupt than any other element in the business. I don't know why they still have streaming.
Like, if we used to break down a percentage of payola in radio, what would you say? Like 50-50, 60-40?
What do you mean as far as what I mean?
Like, how many people's doing it?
Oh, everybody do
it. In radio?
Not every station. No, all stations don't participate. Some guys I know wouldn't dream of taking money. You got
every Spotify playlister is charging.
Huh?
Almost every Spotify playlister is charging.
Oh yeah. Now Spotify is corrupt. All of them are corrupt. Spotify more than most of them.
And I don't so much blame the independent artists. I mean, not the independent artists or the independent playlisters, because Spotify is like FM radio right now. They don't.
No, like Spotify, everybody thinks that they can happen just by getting on Spotify.
Yeah,
and up on Spotify. It ain't that kind of party.
They're not looking to break nobody new. Not even from day one. I mean, you know, like you said, early radio was they were fighting to be the first person to break somebody. Spotify has never had that mentality. Like, we want to be the first to break somebody.
Spotify, you got to pay for features, you got to pay for everything, and then they got farms, man, up in New York and everywhere, man. That's all they do is do stream.
Yeah.
You know, that's all they do.
The stream farms.
Yeah, stream farms are everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how much it really doesn't matter to Spotify though, because they got their subscribers paying for it.
Yeah.
And the labels loving it.
Labels are loving it.
They sitting there, they're making tons of money off of no effort. That's why it has started killing new music. It's really starting to bear on new music. When is the last time you've ever seen or heard anything in new music that everybody was talking about or excited? I can't remember one. The only thing you hear about now is Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Drake, Jay-Z. You don't hear about any new artists breaking. I think the last big New artist that I can remember breaking through was what? Justin Bieber. Can you
I
think
mean,
of
you're
anybody?
right. Like, there's no album out that comes out that I'm just like, oh, I got to go. I got to go hear that.
No, ain't nothing like that. Matter of fact, the last Beyonce album was very disappointing to me. She said she was doing it for the gays. I'm happy for them, you know. But the funny thing about it, Freddie Ryan, I was talking about this. Beyonce's never won album or record of the year. She's never had a record that has been voted by the Grammys as being the best record of the year.
Dang.
That don't say too much to me.
What's your take on the censorship going on? You think it's gonna leak over into the music heavier?
No. They're not worried about the music. They're worried about education.
What about certain individuals? Like I've heard through the grapevine that people told me to try to put out content with like Kanye West music in it or something, and this people tell them they got to remove the music before they can release the content. And it's like cleared and everything. They just don't want the music. They want to kind of like censor the music, Kanye's music out. You don't think if more individuals start taking those kind of stances?
Kanye may have talked himself in a hole.
Okay. You think so?
Yeah, he may have talked himself in a hole. I don't think they're gonna.
You don't think it'll leak over at all?
I don't think they're gonna take their foot off his neck. I really don't.
I hope it's just Kanye, because like Luther Campbell fought so hard, in the Supreme Court for this.
It's not as much filth in music anymore other than the N-word. They're just rapidly motherfucker and the N-word.
Yeah.
The only thing that everybody using now. Back in the early days, they were talking about shooting and killing people and killing cops, and that's what they were concerned about.
Yeah, like you talking about AWA, like fuck the police and cop killer Ice-T.
Yeah, and I really think the music was more real back then because they were really talking about content that was real and could identify with them. We don't have. When's the last time you had a hit record over something political? What was that? Was it?
Maybe Kendrick Lamar or something.
Kendrick Lamar. That's about it.
He's probably the most political mainstream rapper you could get, but he's just one of one. It ain't. J. Cole's from my city, and he's not super political. He's just more. He's like a humble kind of backpackish rapper.
Nobody wants to carry that burden anymore. It's like kryptonite now, man. It's gotten so. Anything that you said been taken out of content.
You're right.
Yeah, it's been taken out of content. And it goes a lot further than you can't go into depth about anything without you really pissing a ton of people off. Opinions just piss people off nowadays.
That's the point I was about to get at. Nowadays, if you take a political stance, you're pretty much alienating half of your consumer base. Because we're in a country where it's like most people are either Democrats or Republicans. Yeah. And it don't matter what stance you take, you're basically pissing off the other side.
You know what? I got a partner of mine that is very rich. Okay, so he's a Republican. He calls himself being liberal, but he's a Republican. Okay, all the way to the core. He was a Trump man, and it really shocked me that he voted for Trump because I thought he was a intelligent, but it was about the money. It's about the money. He's a multi-millionaire, and he's about the money, But I had a discussion with him the other day because I'm always fucking with him about how stupid some of the stupid shit they be doing. And he gets so enraged about it, And I told him, I said, hey, man, why are we sitting up here arguing about some bullshit that doesn't have any effect on any of our lives? They stealing all the money. And trust me, they stealing all the money.
Okay? Yeah.
And me and you with our broke ass, me with my broke ass, not you. But me with my broke, I don't have time to be concerned with that, man, because I know it's bullshit. Both sides are bullshitting people, especially the Republicans. Some of the shit that they be saying, I don't understand how people can go for that. Some of the stuff that they say, John Kennedy gonna come back from the dead and be the vice president for Trump. And I mean, some of the shit I be hearing. And you know, there were people actually in Dallas waiting for him to show up that day, man. What is it? The Q crowd, the Q crowd, the people that had the QAnon or whatever they are.
Yeah.
It was out that John Kennedy, that airplane crash was a fake, that he's coming back and he's going to take over the VP ship with Donald Trump when Trump gets back in the White House. And people actually went to Dallas, flew to Dallas for him to show up. It was hundreds of people down there.
Yeah. I could believe it though. There's people that actually believe Tupac lives with his mom in Lumberton, North Carolina. She actually stays like 30 minutes down the road from us, and they think Tupac is like in a wheelchair living in her house right now.
Yeah, I don't know how long it was before they finally let Elvis Presley die. You know,
my mom loved that guy, and I couldn't stand Elvis.
They still probably have an Elvis Presley sighting somewhere. I would not be surprised. I don't know. You know what, Paulo? I think it is that the people that are in charge basically let education and knowledge in this country go to shit. Okay. You can walk up to any kid in school nowadays, almost, man, and ask them some of the simplest shit in the world. They can't answer it.
No, I've seen the videos. They can't answer. They can't tell the difference between a state, a country, or a city, or a county.
They just don't have any knowledge of what's going on around them. And I think that's on purpose. I really do think that's on purpose. That they want the masses uneducated. They want the masses stupid.
Well, you can't control smart people.
No, you can't control a person that's got conceit. Yeah. But in this country, man, education is for the rich. Okay, and private schools, public schools are going to shit. Don't nobody care about public schools no more. If you poor going to public school, you're in trouble, player. You know.
Is there ever going to be a college course on how to break a record?
They've had them.
They got them.
Oh yeah, they got a school in Atlanta that they wanted me to teach with I don't know if that's a subject, but they teach you about how to marketing and demographics and all of that kind of stuff, you know. But you know, I had OJT on the job training, okay, because you learn certain demographics, certain areas of the country respond to certain artists quicker than they do to other artists. And you learn what areas of the country that you should approach about dealing with certain acts and develop them here in certain areas of the country while you develop another artist in another area of the country, and then try to build them to where you can cross them to another area of the country. We used to do that shit all the time because our release load was so big. We had so many releases. We couldn't go gun-ho with our releases. We had to have a strategy on how we were going to develop this record and how we were going to get this record to a certain point in so many weeks to where we could start pushing it nationally. But we had to do that because we had 18 to 20 releases, man. You can't push. You can only push 3 to 4.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I agree with you, you know, totally that this business is like a on-the-job training kind of thing. It's like it would take years for you to train somebody how to do what you do, and have to pay them at the same time. Who does that?
I'll be truthful with it, man. And I say this in the book. When I first went to work for Stax, I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. I went to radio stations and giving a record. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But it took me about 4 to 5 years to kind of get knack of everything, of the different program directors, different areas, stuff. So after about 4 to 5 years in the business, you start feeling like you got a grip of what you want to go on. And what I had done, I did most of my development in the South, in Dallas and Houston and all those areas. And then I went to Chicago with CBS, and then from Chicago to New York. So, you know, Chicago was my first challenge, but I love Chicago other than the weather. You know, they wasn't killing people every 5 seconds then.
Yeah.
You know, it was real open, not a nice clubs, nice restaurants, tons of artists, you know. I worked with Minnie Rippleton, which I loved. And when I was in Chicago, worked with Bill Withers. Who was that? Somebody else. Patty. I love Patty LaBelle. Patty was a monster. Still is probably. Who else I worked with when I was in? George Duke, Herbie Hancock, Stanley Clark. You know, we had a lot of great jazz acts. Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis. Tyrone used to be one of my favorites because he was ignorant. Yeah.
Why do you think there's so many people trying to get in this business that don't know this business?
Well, you know what? But the funny thing about it, Paul, and I'm sure you've known about this too, is that novice trying to be in this business, you can't tell them shit. I've had multitudes of artists that I'd recommend. This is what I feel like we need to do now, and this is what you need to do now. They won't do it.
Yeah,
they want to do it their way, and then later they come back to me. Well, I may should have done that. I said, I told you that. I got one artist here I'm not gonna name, which is a talented motherfucker. Okay, very talented. Had 2 or 3 top 20 records, but just wouldn't take instructions and do what I asked them to do and follow the instructions that I told them. Now they're getting old. You know, once you get up in them 30s, baby, it's over. It's really over unless you got a monster record. And see, nowadays, internet, which is mostly 14 to 19 to 20 something, they don't want to hear nothing about you when you're 30, 40 years old. Unless you Snoop. They don't, matter of fact, they don't even want to hear Snoop. Snoop got a different sound than the rappers now. You know, that Snoop stuff and Drake stuff and all that, that's my sound back when I was a kid. You know, because Drake would have never happened back in the day.
No, you're right. He wouldn't. He never would have been as big as he.
Would have happened.
Not that back in then. Then he would not been that big.
When they was hitting with them slamming beats and all that. See, Drake has chords he plays. That's him. Yeah. Drake is a chord rapper. You know, so his style is totally different than what was happening prior with Tupac and Biggie and all those kind of people that had swag with their rap.
Dang. So, well, I mean, you think it's like that everybody just thinks they could do it now or something? I mean, it's just too many people trying. Everybody can't be that talented.
No. Well, I mean, I don't, you know, what my wife used to always tell me, because I used to worry about this kind of stuff. She said, you'll never be broke because everybody always want to be a star.
Yeah. There's just too many people now trying to make it.
It probably is, but it's more to marry as far as I'm concerned. The more to try, that means for me and you. Yeah.
COVID was good for me because nobody could spend any money on touring or anything of that nature. They had to spend it online or no promotion at all.
Absolutely, digital. That's all they could do.
You know, I mean, and now
I really still miss getting out and beating those streets. You know, I mean, artists used to stand out and sing in front of the parking lot at Walmart. Man, matter of fact, I had an artist that we did that with. We got permission from the Walmart managers in about 4 to 5 cities. We set up in-stores inside the cities and did a concert outside. We set up in-stores inside the Walmart and did concerts outside the store on the parking lot. Sold a ton of records. Yeah. Did you remember that record, WAP?
WAP, yeah.
J-Dash, WAP. That record sold 3 million units.
That's good.
That was a hip-hop record that worked on the board. That's matter of fact, it's in my other room. The 2 platinums.
Do you think it's harder to get results nowadays working radio or back in your days? Because now everything's more digital. You're like servicing the record. And
radio's tougher now. Radio's tougher now because a lot of people don't have the freedom to do what they want to do. They have consultants. And then a lot of them are owned by corporations. Matter of fact, it's like Cumulus. Cumulus has, I think, 22 stations or 20 stations. You got to get top 20 to get them to play it. Okay. Man. Radio 1, you got to get top 30. And then they say top 30, but trust me, you got to almost get top 10 for the motherfucker to play. So it kills an art indie art. As a matter of fact, it is a portion in my book where I was talking about when I first left major labels and started working indie. Okay. And when I first started working indie, see, because when I was at a major label, I never gave nobody no money. We hired indie to do something like that. But when I had to go work indie, when I first went out on the road, I knew about payola, but I wasn't paying nobody no money to play my records. And thank God I had a decent enough reputation and relationship with these guys, man. I never spent a dime. I broke 5 or 6 big records. Never gave nobody a penny.
And payola, it don't always work either, does it?
Huh?
The payola don't always work for these cats either, does it?
Now, what payola don't work because the record ain't real. Okay, because when you pay for something, you don't get what you pay.
And that's probably why they're paying for it, right? Because the record ain't that good in the first place.
No, not everybody pay. Everybody pay. You may not think it, but trust me, there are indies on every record that is out. Okay. See, the only people I know that may not pay is Beyonce and a few people like that. But everybody trying to get that pay. Because there's indie working all over. Matter of fact, even back in even now, there's still indies on records. But that's one of the reasons why they don't use radio as much as they used to, because it's so fucking expensive. To have a #1 record nowadays, you're talking about $100,000.
Man.
Easy. Last top 5 record I worked, label spent $120,000.
Man.
It's a lot of fucking money, baby. They got a deal for $250,000 though.
But still, it's a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money, man. Yeah. And I've had artists though and acts and labels that they didn't give a fuck what it costs.
Yeah.
They want that #1. And most of the people that are like that don't have the material. They just think that they do, but they just don't have the material. And at a point, it just doesn't make sense to spend any more money. And I always advise my clients, I'm not one of these consultants or people that would just keep taking money from you. When I see it's just no route for this record, I suggest that we stop spending money.
And move to the next, and move to a new record. Yeah.
Release, do something, but at a certain point, it becomes obvious that it's just not going to happen.
And there's a lot of those cats out there that just take the money. It's like you were saying, all we could do is we could give them the best advice. When they don't listen, we can't put a gun in their head, but we've done the honest thing of giving them the best advice possible.
I always tell my artists when I think it's time for them to quit, I think you're wasting money. I had a client one time, man, when I first moved to Houston, spent $1 million with me on one artist. I think he had 2 or 3 releases. I got him top 20.
Yeah.
But it cost a fortune to get them there, and the records weren't selling. Yeah. And I kept telling him, I said, man, I can get it there. I said, but it's not showing any kind of indications that we got a record here. He said, no, I want it. I said, okay.
And in that time, it becomes supply and demand.
Yeah. As long as he wanted it and they pay for it, I do what the client asked me to do.
Yeah.
But I always try to tell my clients, the truth. It doesn't always work out for them. They don't want to hear the truth.
Yeah. Nobody want to hear the truth no more.
No, nobody wants to hear the truth, man. I tell them, I said, nah. And a lot of records I just don't even take because I know they're going to end up being mad at me because they're going to blame me.
They're not going to get the results that they expect to get.
They call us up paying for. And I don't care how much money you got, you cannot turn chicken shit into chicken salad. Okay?
What was that one again? Say that again.
Cannot turn chicken shit into chicken salad. It just don't work.
So where's this book going to be available at?
Hopefully next week.
Next week?
I have one more edit. I'm going to do that this Saturday. The book is already finished, okay? The book is already finished. The thing that I've had to do, Paul, is take a few stories out about people that don't want to be
in the book
of the ass, huh?
People that don't want to be in the book.
No, they want to be in the book, but they don't want me to use their names.
Oh, they want you to refer to them like as a subliminal.
Yeah. So you gonna find a lot of that in there. And my first edition, when I first wrote the book, or when I first started, what I did was I bought one of these softwares where they record your notes and stuff. So I started talking into the software. I ended up with almost 200 pages of shit of memories. So we started wearing that down. We got down to 300 pages. Now I'm down to 250, I think, because I had to remove some stories. I had to change some people's names. I had to change some dates. And because the first book, I named everybody. You know me. I named for that first book. I told on. I didn't tell you don't get nobody in no trouble, but I used everybody's real name.
Yeah.
Sade did this. Sam so did this. Teddy Pendergrass did this. So and so and so. So first of all, my lawyer said, "Oh, T, so you asked him for a fucking suit." I said, "But it's true." He said, "It doesn't matter. If it's true, they're going to sue you just to sue you. Because Teddy still got relatives alive. His family's still living.
Yeah.
Luther still has his relatives. Sade is still finna drop another album. So she's really, and that's one of the ones I had a big problem with Sade.
Yeah.
I worked with her a long time. Matter of fact, her project was tough to break. And so I got a lot of history with her. But, she's got a new project coming out. She hadn't been on the market in 12 years. She hadn't had a release in 12 years.
Man.
So she don't want no negative press on her whatsoever.
Okay.
I can't quote her.
Yeah.
I have plenty of quotes from her.
Yeah.
But I can't quote her. And Toomey, Tina Marie, which you'll find out Tina Marie tried to sleep with me several times when I worked with her.
Oh man, I dropped my headphones on that one.
Yeah. She asked me to sleep with her several times, which I didn't. Which ruined our relationship. You'll read about it in the book though, but it ruined our relationship. I'm gonna have to do a YouTube short on that one, right? Yeah. Once a woman asks you to sleep with her, and you turn her down a couple of times. You shit. Either you gay or you saying there's something wrong with her. That's the way women think, And so she knew I wasn't gay, so she thought and said, "Well, what's wrong? Why won't you?" This shit it's gonna fuck up my career. I might as well have slept with her though, man. I might as well have slept with her. Oh, 1 second, man.
Okay.
Yeah, Joe, what's up? You know what, man? I'm in the middle of an interview. I haven't had a chance to check, but I will check and I'll text you back. Okay? Okay. Take care.
Straight authentic interview.
Yeah. Yeah. So I might as well have, because it caused repercussions.
Where's your book going to be located at?
Everywhere.
Everywhere? You're going to have physical copy and the digital copies?
Oh, yeah. Ebook, Amazon.
Ebooks are what? Audiobooks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be everywhere. I've already got, everything's done. Matter of fact, the book is put together. Everything's done. I just got to proofread it one more time to make sure that we didn't say the wrong thing about the wrong person. See, I got notes here, matter of fact, right now in front of me on what page, what is said, and what I want to make sure it's cool. I got, I had cocaine in there several times because cocaine was like coffee back in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard.
Doing cocaine. I did cocaine at the White House.
Yeah, I've done cocaine in my younger years before.
Yeah, I did. You know what? I tell anybody, cigarettes was harder to stop than cocaine.
Yeah, you know what? That's crazy. We were like every 2 weeks with cocaine, but you're right. Like cigarettes or weed or alcohol.
Cigarettes and weed, though, man. I still smoke weed now. I ain't
never
smoke weed, but Cigarettes was my toughest thing to stop smoking. When I woke up to the cocaine, when I started realizing that cocaine did not enhance my personality, it made me more of an asshole than anything else. I feel like, I got to leave this shit alone. Plus the fucking money.
Yeah, it was more expensive. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, one of the favorite sayings back in the day was cocaine was your God's way of telling you you're making too much money.
I never heard that one.
That's right. Cocaine
Wow.
was God's way of saying you're making too much money. But everybody was doing cocaine back then, but nobody wants to be reminded of it. See, I know a lot of big people. I mean, big. If I start naming some names of some people I did cocaine with back in the day, oh man, you shut this shit. You say, shut the fuck up, TC. Shut up. So that's why so many people are afraid of me in this book.
Yeah.
And I spoke to everybody. I'm gonna tell on myself. Okay, but I'm not gonna tell on nobody else. I take everything that I've done with anybody I've done with. I'm taking it to the grave. I'm just not the kind of kiss and tell person. If I was, boy, I'd make a fucking fortune. Because that's what everybody want me to do. Is
the tell all, the TC Thomkins tell all book.
Tell all, man. I'm sorry if that's what they're looking for in this book. They're gonna be disappointed.
Yeah.
There's some great stories in there. 2 or 3 by Teddy Pendergrass, because that was my boy back in the day. Because Teddy was wild. Teddy was wild. Some great stories by Sade, Tina Marie, Luther, M. Toomey. Let me see who else I got some good stories on in there. Plus, I got a lot of great stories about Tookie, which was Frank DeLeo, was my boss. And went to work for Michael. Got a lot of great stuff about Michael. Because I got to be real cool with Michael before he passed.
He was my number one artist as a kid growing up. Michael Jackson was Jesus Christ to me.
Oh man, he was the shit. Matter of fact, he used to call me all the time. He used to call me on all the holidays, wish my family Merry Christmas shit. Matter of fact, he used to call me to see if I needed any money. I saw him in the 90s, I think it was. Last time I saw him was in the 90s. Out in Los Angeles, and that's that's when he was going through all these suits and molestation and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
He told me right then it was about the money. He said, I'm going to have to pay some people off. And that's what he did. And later it came out that that's what the suits were about, was about the paper. But he never impressed me as being. Matter of fact, I know a lot of women he was fucking. So I mean, if he was doing that, he was a versatile motherfucker. Because I mean, he had women, man. When I went out there when he was a kid, he was fucking.
Now, does this book break down any differences of like? Does this book break down any differences of like the music business then to now?
It does tell it just a different, but really all it is, man, is. We just been fucked. We just been conned.
Yeah.
That's all this is. They done con all these music artists, man. I mean, this way of getting your music is very convenient. Streaming is convenient as shit.
$10 a month, unlimited music.
Yeah, and you can listen to endless amount of music. Okay? But artists are being fucked, man. You know how many streams you got to get to make $1? That's ridiculous. You say, I mean, if you do 5 or 6 million streams, what is that? Maybe about what, $30,000 or some shit?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's ridiculous, man.
Meek Mills is on a label deal. He says he's only getting $1 per every 1,000.
Yeah, that's about right.
And the labels and distributors, I guess, are taking $3.
Killing.
So they're getting what?
Record companies are happy as a punk in Boys Town.
They're keeping 75% of his money. He's getting 25%.
Streaming is the worst thing that ever happened to music artists.
How long do you think it'll last?
Man, as long as they keep doing everything digital, it's gonna probably last forever.
Unless
they come out with another format of being able to get people that got used to the convenience of it. I mean, you don't have to have no records, no CDs. Ain't got to have no storage place. It's easy.
Even for the DJs, it's easier. They don't got to carry all the crates and stuff like they used to.
All they got to have is a little flash drive and a damn Mac.
Oh, they don't even need a flash drive nowadays. You just need a laptop and a Serato, and the music's on the laptop already. You can just load it in and just bam.
There you go. Sure is. I don't like it. I really don't. I didn't even like downloads because you know what, man. And I'll say this, especially with black music. I don't know if it's the same with pop. Okay, but when I would work black music and go into a black neighborhood, the record store, man, was the spot. The record store and the barbershop was the spot. You got the music playing. You got kids hanging out at the record store. You got the posters. You had an air of excitement in the community about the music. It's just not there anymore. It's everybody got their headphones on.
And there's no mom and pop stores no more.
No, that's dead, man. I used to love that. And I talk about
I did
that.
too.
Yeah. I talk about that greatly in the book because back when I was kicking ass, they had tons of black one stops. When I was up in the Midwest, there was Ernie's One Stop, there was Fletcher's, there was George's Music Room. Eddie Kendrick's brother had a big distributor in Detroit named Kendrick's One Stop. It was a massive amount of participation by a lot more people than it is now that it's digital.
And we love the mom and pops because it was the only place for us to get our local CDs sold.
Absolutely.
We could do the consignment.
In there. You could get get it played in store. Oh, I used to do all that shit. I loved all that shit, man.
And it seemed like it was easier when you had that's the thing. Distribution had value then. Now it's, what do you say? It's chicken shit.
Chicken shit.
Because everybody can get distribution. You get unlimited distribution for like $14 a year on some of these platforms.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It just doesn't have any value. Just like you say, you're paying for it real cheap because it don't have no value.
And anybody can record the music, distribute it, do their own covers. They'll do some bullshit artwork, record the song in less than an hour, throw it on a distribution, and
it just really doesn't have any value anymore, man.
There's no process.
It's like sausage and a meat. When you make sausage at a meat plate, it's like sausage. Yeah.
Just a bunch of shit grinded up together.
Yeah. That's it. It's just sausage. I hate that, man. I love this industry. This industry has been just enormously good to me, and I love the fact that I had to scratch and scrape to get there, because nobody was handing out. You had to build a reputation and build a relationship with everybody that you were involved with that was involved with your music. That is gone. That is gone. People had more of a personal stake in artists back then.
Yeah.
Because they were involved in it. And the stations were involved in it. It's just not that kind of involvement anymore. It's just all impersonal. Well, the whole world has become. I think digital, the world going to digital has made everything impersonal.
Yeah, social media ain't so social because you just post something and everybody's like, fuck your shit.
Yeah,
Who cares? Fuck you. Yeah. Like, what?
Social media only deal right now with me is that most of my friends are all my age and we all retired music industry people. And I keep up with what they're doing. And that's what basically social media was meant for. But the young kids, man, all they do is take shots at each other.
Yeah.
And it has just generated a generation, man, that just, I don't know. I'm really concerned about it. Even with my grandson, you know how hard I have to work to de-digitalize him. You know what I mean? Keep that damn phone out of his face or the pad or something, because he doesn't communicate. He got his face in that damn thing all the time.
I'll be saying that all the time. I make a living on the internet, and I don't have my face in the phone that as much as these people do, and they don't even do nothing with it but just consume content.
Yeah,
over and over again.
And look at worthless bullshit. And you know what the funny thing about it? They shit on TikTok and shit. China don't let them show that shit in China.
What do you mean?
They don't show the same type of bullshit on TikTok in China.
Oh yeah, China. Yeah, they're not playing that. They don't want us. They don't want any influence from our culture. That's right. Influencing their culture whatsoever.
Yeah. They showing how to do math problems and shit on TikTok. They're teaching on TikTok.
That's crazy. I didn't know that one.
Oh yeah,
they more into the educational stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they're using it for instruction.
That makes sense, though. That makes all the sense in the world.
They got a little short video, kids' attention. They teach how to do something. It's informative. It's not dances and jokes and bullshit like it is over here. We don't.
What about? We'll get into the hour mark. Usually, don't try to go over the hour. I got one more question I want to ask you, and I'm gonna let you just shout out whatever you want. Okay. Do you think you've worked one of the best jobs to ever work on this planet? Promoting music for a living, man.
Man, in the time that I was hot, it was. From the 60s, late 60s, I got in the business in 71. From 71 to 89 and 90, I'm still active. I would say up until the 2000s, I loved it. You know, matter of fact, the last big record that I broke that was before digital was Domino Ghetto Jam.
Oh, man, we were talking about him recently.
Yeah, that was right before digital started taking over. It was just radio, okay? And it was in the 90s. And in the late 90s and early 2000s, it just started going downhill.
It seemed like right when around the mixtape game came in,
yeah,
that's when a lot of stuff going digital. Even in the mixtape game, everybody tried to do like 50 Cent and blow up off mixtapes, and it did not work. It was just the oversaturation of mixtapes.
I remember the mixtape thing, yeah, when everybody was doing it.
And nobody was really capitalizing except Wayne, maybe Meek Mills, 50 Cent, and a few other cats. Yeah. And that was it.
Well, look, I on my last shout out, like you say, hey, man, I have had a life that I couldn't have dreamed of. I really couldn't have dreamed of, because I come from a rural part of the country. I come from East Texas and farm country. I used to work my ass off as a kid. My grandfather used to own a construction company, so I used to work with him on his construction company. But when I got old enough to get the fuck out of Dodge, that was the first thing I did. And I just God blessed me enough to get into this industry. I have met some of the biggest people in the world, some of the nicest people in the world. I've had great friendships. I met your butt. Me and you cool. And I mean, it's just like meeting people like you, and you are proficient in what you do. You take what you do seriously.
Thank you.
I take what I do seriously. I love meeting people that take pride in what the fuck they do.
Yeah,
I am very prideful, and I know pride is a sin, but I'm a prideful person.
Yeah,
I don't want to have any connection to anything as booty. Okay, I want my shit to all be slammed. And any product that I represent, and anybody that's listening to this can tell you, any product that I represent, I'm a pit bull on it. I go to the max. Matter of fact, I talk about one of my good friends in the book was Ruben Rodriguez.
Rest in peace. He just passed away not too long ago.
Passed away recently. I loved Ruben, because Ruben and I worked on the first Alicia Keys. We worked on the Nappy Roots, Arrested Development. I mean, see, man, I had some motherfuckers of acts I worked with. And Ruben, what I liked about Ruben would never give up on a fucking record, man. I mean, I've seen him work a record a year. And he'd make it happen.
Yeah.
Ruben was behind Cardi B.
I didn't know that.
That's the guy that broke Cardi B, Ruben Rodriguez.
And I actually had somebody that was bringing me his clients, like right before he passed away, man. A lot of his independent clients for like Spotify.
Yeah.
And then he just passed away like literally overnight, man.
Him and I was working on this girl. I think you helped me on this girl, Anna Lita X. She had a record called Wavy.
I think I remember her.
He worked with me on that record. But him and I worked on that record together, and he did a national conference call for me with Radio One. Now I love Kathy Hughes before I start talking about them motherfuckers. I love Kathy, and I've been knowing Kathy Hughes forever before she even started Radio One. But I just feel like conglomerates that own Clear Channel, Radio One, all of that stuff interferes too much in the music. Instead of, I don't mind a major corporation owning something. You know, they got to own something. But don't try to stick your fingers into everything, man. You know,
and they don't really care about the music, do they? They just care about the numbers.
Man, they care about the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and but it's gotten so that they interfere in everything.
Yeah.
You know, they want to okay, they want to approve everything. And I be asking them, what the fuck do you know about blues and rock and roll and you know, and R&B? What do you know about that? What black church? Because I tell anybody, blues, rock and roll, R&B, all that shit came out of black church. So what do you know about a black church and gospel music?
I went to a Pentecostal church before, and it was like, oh man, I never seen so much love in my entire life.
Yeah.
All the elderly women come up, give you a hug, kiss on the cheek. Everybody coming up, shaking your hand. It was definitely way different. Cause I grew up in Baptist church, and they were just like so dull and bland. No seasoning over there. You go to Pentecostal, and it's like
shouting. Oh yeah, baby, they edit, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely a different element, man. Definitely a different element. Anything you want to shout out though before we go?
And I just want everybody to remember the book is named
When Radio Was King.
It should be out next week. I guarantee it's a good read. It got a lot of good stuff in there.
I'm gonna get me a copy. I promise.
Yeah,
promise.
A lot of the stuff that I did. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna tell you. There's some stuff in there you ain't gonna believe. Because I worked with Gene Griffin with the discovery of Teddy Riley. I gave Teddy Riley his first contract, his first deal when he was 15 years old. So when I worked with Gene, I worked with one of the biggest heroin dealers in New York City, and that's what he was back in the day.
Well, that's always been an element in the music business is dope dealers investing. I mean,
and I say that, you know, I say it even though it may not be as much now, I don't know. But back in the late 70s and 80s, man, drug dealers everywhere. That's how they was washing their money. Was through the music industry. You know, so it was just an element that was there.
And some of them probably actually believed in what they were investing into as well.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I mean, I know a lot of them wanted to get out of the business that they were in.
And
wanted to get clean money, you know, and they start off in the music industry. Matter of fact, during the late 80s, after I left CBS, until I think maybe 2000 or late 90s, man, I worked for nothing but drug dealers. That's all. I mean, that's all it was hiring me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because I had worked for Gene or what, but man, I had a string of drug dealers that I worked for about maybe 8 to 10 years, and they paid well.
And I think old boy said it best on the wire. Money doesn't have owners; it just has spenders.
That's it, baby. That's it. I love that. That was my favorite show too.
Yeah.
I appreciate you taking all your time to talk.
I appreciate you coming along, you know, bringing this knowledge, this wisdom, and these great, great stories, man.
Thanks, Paul. You have a blessed day, dog.
All right, you too. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed. That was TC Thomkins, When Radio Was King. He said the book's coming out next week. Should be available everywhere. Check all the bookstores, Amazon. I'm definitely going to get some links from him for the ad in the description and whatnot. But a lot of interesting stories. And as you see, we like to keep it authentic and real. You know, so I did let y'all know that, Yes, I did do coke once in my life or twice in my life before as well. Because this isn't the lying podcast. This is the authentic podcast. But once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed. And I'm about to hit y'all with the outro.